Hello, I'm Dr. Kemit Grafton. I'm a professor of information technology here at Oklahoma State University in Oklahoma City. I've been a quality reviewer for online courses probably for about the last 6 or 7 years. I had done a lot of the course reviews for the Cowboy Quality when we were in the Title III grant, and also I'm a master reviewer with the Quality Matters, and I've been doing that for about 4 years. Dr. Candy McKee asked me to do this short video to talk to you about writing helpful recommendations. You have to excuse me, I need to look at my notes here. One of the questions, the first question is, what are the opportunities for a reviewer when writing a helpful recommendation? One of the themes that I would like to have through these several questions that I want to answer is we're acting as a coach and a mentor. When I say that is I remember when doing athletics in high school and doing something and the coach would come over and says, have you tried to do it this way, or have you tried to put your elbow that way? Giving helpful hints that would improve my performance as an athlete. This is the same thing that we're doing with doing course reviews. Personally, I find them very rewarding. Gives me an opportunity to see how other faculty approach their course designs. And of course, in return, it's helped improve my courses as well. So what's a helpful recommendation? A helpful recommendation then is we're looking at a course from the eyes of a student. The person who develops the course, the faculty member, puts a lot of time and energy into it. And a lot of times they get so involved, they really don't see some of the things that might not make sense, or some things that are on the periphery that to them it made a lot of sense when they thought of it, but cold eyes looking at it, it wasn't necessarily helpful. So we have standards, we have our rubric, and we want to be able to apply that rubric, and we want to be able to look for evidence in the course that either things are being met or they're not being met. If they're not being met, then we're wanting to be able to give helpful recommendations to say, this is something we observed. Have you thought about doing it this way? One of the ones, my favorite phrases is, this could strengthen your course by, and then you would make what your recommendation is. We want to look for specific evidence so that we can be able to point the instructor to where we found it at, what it was referring to, where they can look to find it themselves. Some of the characteristics of a recommendation, and these are very similar to the ones that Quality Matters use, is they need to be constructive, so that they're offering a solution that will help improve or strengthen the course. They need to be specific, and the more specific, the more helpful it is for the instructor to be able to understand what we're looking at and what perspective that they need to do. They need to be measurable. So if you're giving them a recommendation to change something, how do we measure that they've changed it? Okay. One of my favorite, of course, is learning outcomes, and looking at learning outcomes and see if the learning outcomes are measurable. The word understand is used a lot. I see a lot of time in publisher materials, but understand is not a measurable verb, and so you need to be able to say, you need to go in, learning outcome on, chapter 13 has the word understand. You can strengthen your learning outcome by using a more measurable verb. They need to be sensitive. Remember that our colleagues have put a lot of time and effort into these courses, and we need to be sensitive to that. In fact, when I usually write my summary, I always compliment them on, obviously they've put a lot of time into this. We need to be able to be specific, sensitive, measurable, and then we need to be balanced. And one of the tricks in being balanced is a thing we call sandwiching. So you start off with a positive comment, you make the recommendation, and then you end with a positive comment. And by doing that, it's helpful then that whoever's reading the recommendation then is not taking it personal, that they're looking at it for something that is constructive and being able to help from that. So let me pause for a few minutes here so we can go to the next question. So the next question is, what are the challenges for a reviewer when writing a helpful recommendation? This is the thing you need to, what I do is I kind of like put myself in the faculty who has created the course. What kind of constructive feedback am I looking for? Do the links work? Did I forget something? You get so involved in your course design, sometimes whole chapters might end up missing, or a paragraph you thought you had, you cut and pasted and you forgot to paste. Okay. So again, we're looking at this from the eyes of a student. Is this logical? Can they follow it? Is it trackable? Is it something that we can look at from the student? So when we write the helpful recommendation is, okay, from the student perspective, what would be helpful if I could do, blank, fill in the blank, okay? So this is something, again, we need to be sensitive to them and being able to do that. Sometimes you kind of get stumped on it. You got to go back and just kind of like, okay, if I was the faculty who did this, what would I like to see feedback on, and be able to go from there. Okay, here's another pause. Okay, we're back. The third question then is, why is a helpful recommendation coaching and not grading? Usually when we're doing something for grade, we're looking to see whether they've met certain learning objectives or certain learning outcomes. Doing a review is similar to that because we're looking at our rubric, we're looking at our standards. A lot of times in grading, though, it's kind of binary. It's either right or wrong. There's not many shades of gray. When we're doing a review, I know at the Quality Matters, they say we should look and see if it's at least 85%, which is a good solid B if we're looking at a grade analogy. Okay, in the grading scenario again, we're looking to see if something's there or something's missing. When we're looking from a recommendation, again, we're looking at it from a coaching or mentor perspective. Back to an athletic analogy, it says, okay, if you hold your tennis racket just this way, you'll get a better return on your shot. So again, it's looking at and say, all right, are they doing this at a certain percent level? How much of this is being met? How much could be improved on? And that's why I like to use the words you can strengthen it, you can improve it. In the final outcome, it's still up to the faculty whether they're going to adopt your recommendations or not, and you need to sort of recognize that. Okay, here's another pause. Okay, the final question then is, what impact does a helpful recommendation have on a course design? Our ultimate goal is to have good quality courses that the students are going to be able to navigate, be able to help their learning outcomes. We're wanting them to be able to meet their learning outcomes without getting bogged down in the technology of the course design. So that's again why we look at these things, and there's research behind a lot of what we do in being able to do that. One of the things I kind of like to pick on is so when I used to teach web programming, the students tried to use every color in the color palette. Well, there's 250 million colors in the color palette, so don't use every one. So you got to be able to use the tools that are there, use the tools that we know are successful. Be able again to remember that the final outcome is, what does the student learn? How does this has enhanced student learning, and are we helping the student be able to do that? Okay. In summary, I encourage you to look at this as a way to also improve your own courses. I know I enjoy doing the reviews, particularly when I do the Quality Matters reviews from other colleges, because I can see how other instructors are doing things in their course designs, and it's helpful with mine. I can go back and reflect and say, maybe how can I improve my own courses? Thank you very much, and good luck.